past the time, sorry about that. And now I would like to invite Sheikh Bilal Khan to give his speech. Sheikh Bilal, the stage is yours.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده وعلى آله وأصحابه الذين أوفوا عهدا ما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Isn't this the correct one? What was the time?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Everybody either is daydreaming or is too tired. I didn't hear a good response. So I need some energy. If you don't give me energy, then I will have energy. So assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
It has two benefits. Number one, it is basic human courtesy. If somebody says hello to you, to say hello back and not to ignore the person. And the other thing is, it is actually more than hello, because hello doesn't bring blessings, whereas assalamu alaikum means it's a prayer for you. May peace be upon you, may God's mercy and blessings be upon you. Who doesn't want that? I mean, you need to reciprocate that. Yeah? Life is about mutuality, reciprocation of good sentiments. So anyway, that's I was just trying to wake you up. And some people kind of fall into a snooze. I would like to start with a verse of Quran, a verse of the Holy Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, in the Quran, وَمَا كَانَ رَبُّكَ لِيُهْلِكَ الْقُرَى بِظُلْمٍ وَأَهْلُهَا مُصْلِحُونَ. Is this what's not working? Anyway, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, the slides are there just as a thing. I want to talk to you. I think we've done too many slides over the last few days, and slides make it go too long as well. And so وَمَا كَانَ رَبُّكَ, your Lord will not destroy you as people, right? Or people or humanity, Allah will not destroy you, provided there is a reformer amongst you. What does it say? وَمَا كَانَ رَبُّكَ لِيُهْلِكَ الْقُرَى بِظُلْمٍ وَأَهْلُهَا مُصْلِحُونَ, provided the people of that place are reformers. Allah did not say salihun, He said muslihun. Allah did not say salihun, He said muslihun. He did not say provided there are good people, because muslih and salih both have the same root letters, sad, lam, ha, which means correctness. When something breaks, you need to mend it, correct it. This is why we have say somebody has a good character, salahuddin. Yeah, so salah is about somebody who has good character, but Allah does not say salih. He calls to muslihun. And one of the commentators of this verse says that even the people of Quraysh, these are the people of Makkah, where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to, they loved the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. قد أحبت قريش سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم حينما كان صالحا. As long as he was a salih, righteous person, trustworthy, they loved him. ولكنهم حاربوه عندما أصبح مصلحا. But they began fighting with him when he became muslih, not salih. He tried to correct them. See? So there's a little tweaking of the word, but it changes a lot. What we need in Islamic finance, to continue with what the Vice Rector and others have been saying, and I think people around the world are saying, we need real reformation. We need to reform the global economy. We need Islamic finance should be a real paradigm shift, a real alternative. It shouldn't just be a subset of the conventional system. It should be a real linkage between real economy and financial economy. Not what is some places happening, where the financial economy is just being re-engineered restructured with a lot of Islamic terminology and being presented. And this is why some people don't buy it. Because what they have an issue with, some people, is that there isn't real, as Sheikh Takî mentioned earlier, maqasid of the Sharia, the purpose of Sharia. Because everything should have a purpose, right? You don't just sit in a car and drive around for no reason. You need to go from A to B. You do something, you have a purpose. If it's not making a difference in society, yes, we can't call it haram if it ticks the boxes and its permissibility is there, but is it real bringing any change? Because the system of Islam should make a difference. If it's not making a difference from the poor to the rich, in terms of lack of assets become more assets, more production, or are we talking about the bankers becoming more richer, and this is the same old stuff? So we need to be very careful. These are the modes that are common in Islamic finance today. Those that are prevalent, those that banks, Islamic banks use. So we have 4 headings. The first bullet points, you can see our 4 headings there. And I use this as a
pointer.
The green bar. You have to.
This one?
No, it's on the.
Right, so you can see there. Can you see it here?
Yes.
The first one is sale-based types of finance, Islamic finance. Then is lease-based. Then is participation, or you can call it partnership if you like, or you can call it equity if you like. And then this is just about someone, not services. I think I like to call it, the word is an agency relationship, an agent. So somebody who works on. Don't get fixed with these words only, right? Because there's more vast knowledge behind it. So if you look at the sale base, that means there's a buyer and a seller. A buyer and a seller. So if you look at the first one, murabaha, can you see the word R in there, B in there, and H? Those 3 letters are the root word. Ribh means profit. Yeah? If I was to, can you concentrate on the slides here? You'll learn a lot. R, B, H are the root. If the roots were R, B, A, then it will be riba, interest. So ribh and riba are very close. Yes, they both are excess, surplus, but if there's excess just on money, I give you money, brother, you give me money back, but one of us gave the other more, then there's RBA. I know there's I in there, riba, but I'm just giving you root letters. But if there's tangible asset moving, house, car, mobile, I sell to you, then any excess profit on that, return on that, is called RBH, murabaha, ribh. Why is it murabaha? Remember in Arabic, these letters, where there's MU in the beginning and A at the end. Musharaka, MU, and in the middle, middle A and A at the end. It doesn't have to have a H at the end. Just remember this in Arabic. Same with mudaraba, MU, A in the middle and A at the end. That makes it mutual. I'm teaching you Arabic in an English language, so to make it easy. I mean, not everybody's going to understand Arabic here, but this is easy.
Okay.
So any Arabic word that has MU in the beginning, A somewhere in the middle, and A at the end, regardless whether it has H or not, because that's preference. Some people like to have H at the end, some don't have H. It makes it a 2-way. Musharaka, mudaraba, murabaha, all of these. Anything else, mukalama, anything in Arabic you make it 2-way, muqatala, anything, muamala. Arabic says from the word amal, action, muamala is a 2-way action. That's why we call a deal, a transaction, muamala. So you've learned some Arabic now as well. Because I don't want to go too much into detail, but I want to teach you something as opposed to just read over stuff. So the first type of contracts are sale-based contracts. This is where I'm going to answer some of your deeper inside questions that people have had, and they probably haven't been answered over the last couple of days in a serious manner. I mean, I have been stuck with time limits and stuck with certain slides to present, and I'm not the kind of headline speaker, if you like. So and when I come in, I've got much more to deliver than just technical stuff. I want to make a difference. So sale-based modes of finance, it's important that you have a look at these. Now, in a sale, there has to be real, genuine sale. The problem with some of the murabaha today, this is why the industry or the world has issue with murabaha is, yes, the murabaha, another thing about murabaha to bear in mind is that it's all about genuine sale, right? I can't, just for the sake of what normally borrower does and a bank does, is the borrower wants money and the bank wants to lend that money and get an excess back, something returned. We can't replicate that, and just for the sake of Sharia we put some assets in there and commodity, and the commodities then end up back to the same person and the money has moved. Isn't that playing games? That is playing tricks. If you're doing murabaha, commodity murabaha, whereby nobody, the person who had the original commodities, the first person, the supplier, gets his commodities back, and the person who needed excess money gets that excess money, and the person who wanted basic amount gets that. Really, there wasn't that trail that happened, that the commodities that moved, there wasn't any need for it, as in genuine need in that commodity. It was just shifted around for the sake of replicating an interest-based dealing. This is why it's problematic.
They say this is the practice now, Islamic banks.
Unfortunately. Yeah. I can answer those questions, I just want to keep to my time. So murabaha unfortunately is practiced like that in some places, and this is problematic. I'm sorry, I'm not going to agree with that kind of murabaha, because murabaha itself is fine, but if you change the animal into something else, then it doesn't behave the same way, right? And if you're going to use Islamic terminology, but just to cover up your own way of practicing conventional, then you're not going to get the Muslims to buy into that. So we want to make sure that murabaha is done genuinely, i.e. if I genuinely want a house, or if I genuinely want a product, or asset, or a commodity, then there is a sale. And yes, murabaha, what it does to you is, another key thing to remember, murabaha, whether the one that's practiced wrongly or the one that is right, you should inform the person that you're selling to the cost price as well. So normally in the shops, when they sell you anything, they don't tell you the cost price, do they? So that's not murabaha. Murabaha tells you what I'm making from you and what I got it for. And then the way it's being practiced today is a deferred payment. So you make installment payments. So anyway, that's murabaha. These are the other types. We'll go through that in detail in a bit of contracts. I want to quickly just get through the main ones. Lease. This is a relationship here where there is a lessor and a lessee. So somebody is renting something out. That could be renting of your house or your car or aeroplane, if you want to charter a plane. Then that's based on a ijara. Now ijara itself is fine as it is, because the reason why we have something that we have a problem with in the conventional is called hire purchase finance. Yeah, we say that's not compliant because it's got hiring and it's got purchasing, and you can't put two. Are you really hiring or are you purchasing? I'll let you fix that. But so hire purchase finance is problematic because it has hiring and purchasing together. So hire purchase finance has hire and purchase. Ijara, as you can say, what does it say there? Lease. It shouldn't be a sale and a lease back, because what is today's practice is becoming that you're selling in the same contract and you're leasing it back. Right? So that is, some people have a problem with that and the way it's being practiced. So if you want a sale, you do a sale. Here, one of these sales. If you want to do a lease, you do a lease. But if you combine the two and call it a new practice, I will keep, I'll sell this to you, then I'll lease it back, and then even the lease ends with another rollback sale again. You're returning it. It's very convoluted. Participatory modes of finance are, I mentioned, is partnership. Partnership is of two types, very basically. This one, the one that has SH and K in there, musharaka, it comes from the word shirka. Right? Shirka basically means to share, right? To be partners in something. So when there's two partners, we make a musharaka. Now in musharaka, both parties give money, capital, contribution. So if I wanted to go into business and say, you brother, you wanted to go into business with me, if you contributed some capital and I did some, we both become sharik, and it's a musharaka. We're partners and we both are capital providers. We are free under Sharia to agree the profit ratio. Just because you contributed 40% doesn't mean your entitlement to profit is 40%. We could agree with free will and mutual consent that you get 60 and I get 40. Right? Just down to us, and we could have a justification for that. just bear one thing in mind, that parties are free to agree whatever ratio they like, regardless of their capital contribution. However, the loss has to follow the ratio of what you contributed. So if you made a profit in a musharaka partnership, so if you contributed 40% capital, I contribute 60%, but what we agreed that you will get 60, regardless of your 40, and I'll get 40, then if there's a profit, you will get 60, and I'll get 40. However, if there's a loss, you will only lose 40% and I will lose 60%. That's the basic cardinal principle there. In Mudaraba, it is not about two people contributing. Only one person brings the capital, the Rabbul Mal. The other person brings their skill, their entrepreneurship, whatever that is. That could be somebody who has technical knowledge of some engineering, or a share fund manager, or maybe a dentist that is saying. So one person says, I'll put the money in, you open a dental practice. Because you're a dentist, you'll bring the technical expertise. So that is a partnership as well. So they will again agree whatever ratio they like and follow the same way. The loss will be, the person who didn't contribute any money, his or her loss will be their time and their energy that they've given, their expertise, that will be lost, clearly because they haven't put the money in. The last one, I call it the principal-agency relationship. Principal, P-A-L, and agency. So I can say, I appoint you as my agent to go and act on my behalf, buy and sell or do whatever. So this is where you use the model called wakala. That's the real one. That is something that's been made up afterwards. But wakala is where you become your wakil, the agent. And muakkil is the person who makes that you a wakil. That tells you the origin. How much time do we have? How much roughly?
10-15 minutes.
Yeah. So it's important that we realize that these are the essential elements. Some of them have been turned into different elements, and there's reasons for it as well. I mean, as Sheikh Takî Osmânî mentioned earlier, that we haven't got the best model of banking today. It's not the ideal. It's work in progress, and inshallah, hopefully, we all hope and pray that it will turn to a model which is more equity based. But my only problem, personal problem, is that banking cannot give you this, right? Banking does not come through this. So what will happen is, unfortunately, banks are risk averse. Banks are risk averse. Banks will not want to take that much risk. So hence, the ideal model for risk taking, for these, the right vehicle is a fund. An investment fund, an asset management company, all types of funds you can use, even a unit trust, investment trust. These are the right models because a real private equity style business or a VC, venture capital business, will allow that. If you look through ESMA, there's a new regulation coming in Europe that covers all types of derivatives and banks. And then you go Basel 1, 2, 3, and then you also have Solvency 2. Solvency 2 is for insurance. Now, so much regulatory framework is there. The point of all of this regulation is what? That regulation I just mentioned to you is all about banking and insurance. And the regulation in a way forces you to become more debt creating. Are you following what I'm saying? So if you want to avoid and you want to have a debt-free, which a lot of people are asking questions, debt-free system of Islamic finance, and you want a system which is more participatory, like you use the word in this country, participation, partnership, equity, risk-based, and you want to genuinely really use those, then brothers, avoid that. Use the right vehicle for it. The vehicle that doesn't twist your arm and make you go down the debt creation. So the best way is the funds, asset management companies, private equity funds, VCs. Those are what I would encourage. We need to grow more of that, and then we can really benefit. There is a need for banks, and banking sector and its own vehicles provide a lot of solutions of their own kind. But we shouldn't try to expect all our solutions to come through banks. This is why we are having problems about debt, and we're saying, why is it creating more debt? Debt itself is the sole cause of the recent financial crisis that our learned teacher, Sheikh Takî Osmânî, he's given the vice rector a gift of one of his books, which is about the causes and remedies of the recent financial crisis. If you get a chance, you should read this book, It's very beneficial. And he delivered, Sheikh Takî Osmânî delivered this paper in front of the Davos World Economic Forum. You know, so the leaders of the world, prime ministers and presidents were there, and he delivered that. And in there he's mentioned what is happening. The biggest reason, nobody can hide from this in the world, will tell you, the biggest reason for the financial crisis, not just the last one, all the crises, right back to the great great crash that happened, the Great Depression of the 1930s, all the way, this is modern, last century or so, has all been down to what? Debt based. The economies are based on leverage, debt. What they do is, credit is cheap, which means interest rates are very low, hence they entice everybody to come in and borrow, whatever the thing is. So you're borrowing for your business, you're borrowing for your personal needs or commercial needs. The moment everybody is in the trap of borrowing, that's when suddenly, by magic, interest rates go high, some people can't pay those back, therefore their houses and their businesses get repossessed. And this is why, let me tell you a word. The word mortgage is made up of two words. Mort, gauge. Mort means death and gauge means pledge. I'm not making it up. You can look that up. Mortgage is a death trap. And there has been studies in the UK by non-Muslims who have said that mortgages have led to divorces, to depression, to even suicide. If you went and did a study in UK or other Western countries, you'll find how many people, the mentality over the last few decades was such that it's cheap credit, let's borrow. So from your toaster, you know what you put your bread inside the toaster, to your car, to your house, to your sofa and appliances, everything is on debt. And when your whole life is controlled, and student loans, you want to go to university, you have to borrow money. You're on student debt. Every time, all kinds of debt is created. And then the debt doesn't stop there, it carries on growing and growing. Private equity companies and venture capital companies have got a model where there's excessive debt. Like 95% of the company's borrowing is based on debt. If you go and look at PE companies, private equity, only 5% is equity. So the problem is there, that imbalance. And then this is what happened because there isn't real, genuine, underlying production, enterprise going on. So what you're facing is boom and bust. You face a good time, a cycle of the economy, where the rates are good, where the credit is cheap, and therefore you're doing well. But the moment this goes pear-shaped, because it's man-made, as Sheikh Takî Osmânî earlier mentioned, that the reason why we're following Islamic finance is because it is based on al-wahyul ilahi. It's based on divine revelation. Now if we use divine revelation but manipulate it in a way and suit our own needs and make it more like conventional, then we're playing with God's work. Then that's not right, and that's what's going to create disasters. Yes, Islamic banks have been saved from the crisis, but I can stand here and predict one thing to you. In the coming years, Islamic banks will also be foul of the same, if they carry on producing the same. If you're going to produce just these labels, but behind your work is there, so you have to make sure that we are genuine. There's genuine true sale, genuine equity, there's genuine ownership. And we try to make sure, we need to go at a very slow pace. Because look, the conventional industry has been around for what? Centuries. Centuries. Now we can't compete, and when they say Islamic finance is only 1% or something of the global financial service industry, you can't expect it to be at par, competing at the same level. Why? Because we don't have the history, we don't have the critical mass, we don't even have that education yet. We're slowly growing. Alhamdulillah, over the last few decades, what has happened, a niche practice is now penetrated into the mainstream market, and a lot of people are looking at this. I mean, I come from London, where all of these modes are taught. 28 different universities in the UK are teaching Islamic finance. 28 in master's programs, MBA. So people even from the non-Muslim world are really interested in Islamic finance. They see it more as ethical, more universal based values. You might ask the question, is that really true? Yes. You can only really doubt that if you feel that yes, the people in the UK want Islamic finance because they want the money from the rich Arab oil-rich countries, fine. But what if there's two non-Muslims doing a deal together and they already have their own money. So which money do they want then? And I have witnessed a lot of non-Muslims. I even gave a talk to the Church of Scotland and Church of England. Bishops, the priests were sitting there and they're interested in using their own funds to structure them in a more ethical Islamic way. They don't need Arab money. They don't need, the only reason why they're looking at us, they've studied Islam. They've studied the times of the Imam Ghazali, as Sheikh Takî Osmânî referred to him, Ibn Khaldun, and the great works of our time. I mean, the unfortunate thing is that Muslims, we don't take pride in what we've done in the history. And even the Western world saw the Islamic time, great time, the golden age, as a role model. So we need to go back to the basics and make sure that whatever we deliver is practical. Islam is a religion which is beneficial for everybody. It isn't just limited to Muslims. This is why Islamic finance is taken over a lot of the Western countries. I was mentioning the other day, some of you were there, that I'm going to countries like Luxembourg, Malta, Brussels in Belgium. They're interested in Islamic finance genuinely. So I think we have a great opportunity. Your university with the Vice Rector and the Rector are doing so many programs. And Dr. Usmani, who's here, who just had a meeting, we have a huge list of programs, different types of programs, from one-day programs to many months-long programs, programs which are dedicated towards different academia, and also practitioners, workshops, tailored, bespoke programs, which are actually certified and recognized, and done not just by theorists, but also by practitioners. So you have end-to-end full experience. And I think we do need to create education and awareness, because the more you educate and train people, the more capacity we will have. Because it's all fine talking about Islamic finance or Islamic economics or humanitarian finance, but if tomorrow this comes in, who is going to execute this? You need people. You need people, you need lawyers, you need bankers, you need accountants, you need fund managers, you need regulators, you need risk managers, you need actuaries, insurance brokers, you need lecturers. So all of that field, human resource, can be set up. And inshallah we are working towards developing that. And we pray and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to place barakah in our work and to give us tawfiq and opportunity to continue our dialogue with each other and collaboration. And I pray to Allah, may Allah make this the first of many steps, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.